I watched tonight's event in Philly with off the walls lunatic Walz and Shamala. And I got to tell you something. I have never, ever, and I've been doing this now for a while. I have never heard such unmitigated, unending, limitless propaganda, lies, mendacity, off the walls. Tonight's subject, Shamala is teamed with radical Loon as Dem Wokies go full tilt Nutso. Bat crazy. Lie after lie. President Trump, you have been given yet another chance. Another gift from the Almighty. And you must take every sentence that was stated and said, claim, false, false, false. This guy, Mr. National Guard, who basically ditched war so he could go and run for Congress. Sorry, guys, I got to go. Why? Well, I love to deploy with you, but I got something better to do. Have a nice day. Did that come up? No. No, not at all. President Trump, this is your chance. You and JD should go nuts. 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 Number one, sometimes when you tell people things like this, you think to yourself, is this really the worst? Yes. You want something where people say, what? Those are the ones I like. I like where you say, what? He did what? Oh, it gets great. I mean, it is just beautiful. This guy is just terrific. There's no end. There's no end to this unmitigated lunacy. He's a nut. Mandating of all things, period products in boys' rooms. Period products? What the hell is that about? If I told you, think about this, if your grandfather, your parents, if somehow came to Earth and said, listen, by the way, how's it going since I've been gone? Anything? Well, yes, Dad, Grandpa, yes, you probably heard about this. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But there's a guy who's running for vice president. And when he was the governor of Minnesota, he basically mandated that there be period products in little boys' rooms for boys because, menstruation is a big deal. I swear to God, this is insanity. Absolute, unmitigated insanity. There's no way. There's no other word around it. There's nothing. I mean, you call it whatever you want. I mean, you can, it's unbelievable. This is a guy who basically wants mandate. Just go through his tenure. He looks like a normal guy. I don't know how this is why he's so deadly, because he looks like Wilford Brimley or Warren Buffett. Look, he's 6 months older than Shamala. 6 months. And have you noticed something? I don't know how do I say this? Is it much to mention like her clothing, or should that be it? Yeah. But I just don't understand why women can't wear dresses. Why can't she wear a dress? I mean, is this the Hillary thing? Is that the? I mean, I'm just saying, because, and the reason why I ask is today because there's such an absolute hatred towards anything that's feminine or man. Yeah, they just don't want. Can she possibly? Can she? Is there? Has she ever worn a dress? Does she always wear suits? Is that the thing? I'm just asking the question. What do you think, friends? What do you think, ladies? What do you think? Do you think this makes sense? I want to ask this because I don't want to just say something that just sounds cheap. I don't want to make fun of looks per se or anything like that. Only look makes it say it if it's relevant. Did you see this? Do you see? I want to ask ladies about this. Do you think? I know men will say it doesn't matter. I want to ask women. Women, do you think this makes any sense? Seriously, I want the ladies in the house to answer this question for me. Does it make sense to you? That's all. Just a thought. Just a thought. This is a guy who looks like a normal fellow, doesn't he? Look like, and he's sick. He's 60 years old. He looks like he's 70. I don't know. It could be 74, 75. I mean, I'm serious. He showed pictures of his kids. I thought it was his grandkids or his kids. He had IVF, which is great. Good for him. But this is a guy who's just a rough and tumble. I'm a coach, and they came to me and they wanted the first gay. I thought that was good when he was a teacher. They want to have the first gay club, so I'll be your sponsor. Okay. But that's not even the close of it. Campaign poster. I'm Tim Walz, and I put the men in menstruation. That's one of those words like February. Nobody says menstruation. But you could, I guess. Menstruation. This is Walz calls Trump a fascist, a threat to democracy. I mean, you can just go down I don't even know where to start. This is a guy who was responsible for the horror show called the George Floyd conflagration and wildfire that spread all over the world. And he did it on purpose. He wanted to burn that city to the ground. And he was told to do this. And he was ordered to do this. And he was a dutiful soldier. And this guy comes across like this avuncular granddad with his kids. And hey, here's Coach Walz, who could have stopped this. Even the liberal mayor of Minneapolis said, "What are you doing? What do you stop this?" Oh, no. Didn't his wife say she could smell the fire? She opened the window so she could take in and smell the fire. I said, what are you, a pyromaniac? Are you turned on by this? It's disgusting. He wants kids to be able to have genital mutilation therapy, genital mutilation surgery, to have their entire identities ablated, excised, removed, amputated. Kids who can't even decide their favorite color. Do you think that makes sense to you? Is this progressive to you? These people are sick. And they're liars. And they say, and if Donald Trump is president, it will be, excuse me, we had Donald Trump for 4 years. It was great. Did they forget this? And they never mentioned Joe Biden one single time. Can you believe that? Not one single time. This guy is they just disappeared him. He's done. He's finished. They disappeared his ass. It's incredible. He fueled the BLM riots, that awful, awful terroristic organization, that domestic terrorism. They should be indicted. They should be, forget J6, they should be indicted as organized crime, some kind of RICO prosecution. He fueled it. He exacerbated it. He poured gasoline on the fire. Rioters looted and destroyed Minneapolis. He changed the Minnesota state flag to resemble Somalia's. Did you see this? Killed old people with COVID nursing home scandals. This is amazing. It's put it this way. Some have called Minnesota a groomer-friendly LGBTQI sanctuary state. there's stuff going on there you don't even want to know about. He pushes youth trans surgery, hormone therapy. And then soldiers accuse him of embellishing and selectively omitting facts about his own military career. As I told you, how he cut and run as a sorry guys, I'd love to deploy with you in Iraq, but I'm busy. I'm running for Congress. I'm busy. Fellow soldiers accuse him of quitting on them. He got a DUI in 95, going 95 in a 50. Okay, what are you going to do? Praises socialism and the white dudes. And this is the running mate. This is demented. This is demented. In June, there was a June report from Minnesota's legislative auditor and found that Walz's administration, quote, failed miserably in its duty to properly oversee millions of federal dollars it administered to nonprofits to feed children. This is a guy who said, and he fed children. He's a liar. I'm telling you, JD and Trump, every single, just go after each of these things and just say, lie, lie, lie. Now, Kamala doesn't have a record because Kamala's never done anything. What was that? She's never done anything. She's done nothing. She's laughed. Did you notice her presence tonight? Did you notice her countenance? Oh, they worked on it, and it looks a hell of a lot better. It doesn't have that stupid, moronic giggling, that cachinnating, that pseudo-bulbar affect lunacy. She wasn't extolling, going extemp and off the rails. I wonder how much those folks they pay to get there. Because the only time Dems will show up for anything is if it's a free concert or there's looting. Look at this group. They tried their best. That was one time to even compete with Trump. They mimicked the Trump rally with the signs and the whole bit. And they were clapping. And it went on too long. It went on too long because she's telling more of this stupid story. And they called him coach. And then he was a linebacker coach. And he made a difference. These people are such. Do you know that I saw Doug Emhoff, that wimpy, watery, dilute, effete, imprisoned husband of hers, the first husband. This guy, he talks about toxic masculinity. This guy's talking about. I mean, you can't write this. And I'm going to say this again, and I'm going to repeat myself. They keep saying, and if Trump's president, he was president. He was. And Kamala right now is a big bad. You know, I was a courtroom prosecutor. Yeah, and you wanted to imprison mothers whose kids were truant, black women, because secretly you hate black people. You have nothing to do with it. You're like OJ, that all of a sudden, whenever it seizes you, oh, then you're, hey, girl. Right. She's Jamaican, she's Indian, she's black. She's a liar. And the propaganda spewing, she has this thing. Did you notice how they told her to calm this down? Calm it down. Stop this stupid laughing. I kind of miss it. Axios report. By the way, you see how they're cutting all the Axios people? They're cutting all this up. These people can't make money. How do you make money for this? Ads? The report that I just referred to highlighted several ways in which the Walz administration failed to rein in the fraud, undercutting the governor's longstanding claims that his agency staff deserve credit, not criticism, for their efforts to stop. Democrats this is organized crime. These are people who are gangsters through and through. I want to say this again. Signing legislation to allow minors to get sex change operations. Period products. Period. When did this ever? Hey, yeah, coach, yeah, listen, do me a favor. I went in the boys' room there, and there's no tampon machine. There's no poontons in the machine. But if a girl, babe, sure, but so we got to do that. So Yeah, we got to put a mandatory because there may be. Oh, stop it. Can I ask the question? Yeah, if she's a girl and the boys, why is a girl menstruating there, Coach? Seems kind of weird to me, huh? Menstruating. How's that possible? And she's a boy? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And what he did with George Floyd, unbelievable. How about this one? Hey kids, under Walz's leadership, Minnesota gives free college tuition to illegal aliens. How do you like that? Hey, kids having a hard time paying back those student loans? Well, you did it the wrong way. You should leave, go to, I don't know, come into the southern border, wear a serape, and come in, and all of a sudden you got it. You're free. In fact, he signed a bill that gave driver's license to potentially 77,000 illegals. He loves socialism. During the white dudes for Harris, well, then move. Move. This is the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. I don't know how to say that. President Trump, this is a gift from God. An absolute gift from the Almighty. It's too perfect. It's beautiful. We use sometimes the word propaganda, and I've heard it used, and sometimes you think, wow, something's not really propaganda. It's propaganda, but maybe this was 100% propaganda. Like I never thought even remotely possible. Propaganda that I never thought even remotely possible. It blows my mind. I can't believe what I'm hearing. I cannot believe. Seriously, with all due respect, dear friends, I cannot believe what I'm saying. And what I'm thinking of, and I don't know if you saw this or felt the same way, but I thought to myself, this has got to be fixed because I got to tell you something. If there's any, if this should not be allowed by some rule of nature, this should not be allowed because of this. This woman, again, please forgive me because Mrs. L and I are watching this and I'm just shocked by this. They don't mention Joe Biden one single time. He's the president. Not one time. What do you think about that? Do you think that odd? They don't mention him one single time. Let me say this again to you. Let me say this again. Joe Biden, gone, disappeared. Nancy Pelosi, this morning we played this. I haven't talked to him. Screw you, Joe. These are the most cutthroat killers anybody's ever seen. And these stupid schmuck Democrats behind them clapping. Hey, that's wonderful. Hey, idiot. She's an interloper with this jadrul. What about your guy Biden? She couldn't pull 2%. Do you think she's going to beat Trump? She's never done it before. She doesn't have Willie Brown to get the job. It doesn't work like that. She's been handed this her whole life. Remember, Mrs. Allen and I were talking. She came up with something. She says, do you think maybe there's a possibility where one day they're actually grooming this guy to take over? Or she's kind of like she doesn't really have anything to do with, anything. She's just kind of there where they put people in charge. And next thing you know, they realize, hey, they're gone. Something happened. Something fell through. Huh? Yeah. They'll Biden her. Something will come up. Now, let me ask you something. What are your fears? I know people don't want to talk about this, but I saw this tonight and I'm saying, this is a dream from God. if they blow this, if Trump blows it, if the Republicans, where's Laura Trump? Where's Laura Trump? Last time I saw her, she's all got that greasy face look and everything. What are you doing? Why aren't you there in the office doing the hard work, rolling up your sleeves and actually doing something, telling us about the teams? You're with the RNC, about the teams you're going to employ. When this woman, then she's talking about in Philadelphia, where voting is where they put cardboard on the windows of the precincts so you couldn't see what they were doing. And when you talk about, I was a prosecutor, this was a place where just down the street in Kensington, it's like a zombie land. It doesn't even come close to making sense. The lying. Vito says, so Joe Biden is a distant memory. A vice president even Dems disliked is suddenly the second coming because they paid people to come to a rally. Yes, after picking Archie Bunker's lefty brother. The gaslighting is real. Vito, absolutely touche. Touche indeed. Unbelievable. Kimmy Cliff says pizza boxes were used on the windows in Detroit. These people are so, and Judge Mershon is looking at bringing Trump sentencing maybe September the 18th. Maybe. Now, you know what I'm saying? Make it earlier. What? Please, Judge Mershon, make it earlier. Every time Trump goes to court, none of this makes any sense. Now, let me tell you something. And let me see if I can explain this to you. If you think that what we saw tonight, despite the fact that she didn't stop laughing. Oops, hang on a minute. Thank you, Jay Koziu. Thank you. We have tonight, as we speak, 91 days until the election. Do you think you can maintain momentum when she's not going to be saying anything? When we saw tonight, it was okay. It was cute. It was all right. It was okay. No, really, I didn't learn anything. They keep talking about the reproductive freedom. Trump has never said we're going to take away your reproductive. This is the biggest lie. That's all they've got, because what they want to do is they hate life, they hate gender, they hate sex, they hate boys and girls and families. It's the damnedest thing. All they want to do. Look at this. John Scott says the blue wave is coming. Johnny, do you think that's true? Because, last time they said there was a red wave, it didn't come. Does anybody think John's correct? A blue wave? Or is he an agent provocateur? Do you think, if you saw it, do you think there was anything about her tonight that actually motivated, as opposed to, that's nice? Did you feel the same thing? It's almost like they said, we're going to try to mimic a Trump rally as best as possible. This is the only rally, and it was a good size one, right? Temple University. It was the first time 10,000 people. The only time I've ever seen it. They did everything in their power to get people to show up there, because it's not in people's instincts. People don't give a damn about her. Those people aren't going crazy over her. I'm telling you, she's never said anything. Hang on a minute. Eric Heffelfinger says, how do we counter the Trump added more debt argument that's going to come up? By saying it's not true. More debt. This was, you can just go through the numbers and then ask them, are you honestly saying, Shamala, that with your programs to basically pay to just give away money to illegals for health care, for tuition, for all this money, cash, paying them, You're worried about debt? I mean, am I getting this straight? Are you seriously saying that, Kamala? Do you really think, do you really believe, do you really honestly believe that I believe you? Do you? Does anybody honestly think this? You've got to be kidding me. Do you think those people, did you see them saying that? Do you think they're worried about the debt? Look at this crew. You think Democrats, they live in debt. That's their thing. Economics means nothing. They're not socialists. It's a welfare class. Just give people money. Make people dependent upon you. Socialism is more planned economy. It's a different story. It's a different story. Planned economy is a little bit different. Edie Crowley says, when you woke up from woke, it's no joke. Yes, you wake up, brother. You're correct about that. In fact, there's Kamala this morning. We played that ridiculous story. It is incumbent upon President Trump and J.D. Vance every single day. Do it right now. Do as I say. Go before the country, go before everyone, and set up some type of a I don't know what you want to call it, a video setup like Donnie Jr. was doing, and go through each one, and then tell him, "Hey, Timmy, did you leave?" Tell him how you abandoned, how you went AWOL from your company. Yeah. Fetterman did? Fetterman came out wearing shorts. This Shrek, this ogre, came out and said they're weird. By the way, he said this. He said weird. Really weird. This guy is an expert witness. You can't believe what you're doing. You're thinking. Do you honestly feel, the answer is no, that this was now, when I tell Kamala, you haven't done anything, why don't you talk about the Biden record? Why don't you tell these people what you do about Israel? As we're gearing up, supposedly, they're saying Iran's about to unleash some holy hell. What do these two jadruls have to say about that? What about Ukraine? Come on, these are big stuff. How are you going to handle that? Which of you people, can you just imagine Shamala sitting across from Putin? That ding-dong, ring-a-ding-ding, daddy-o? John Jelaine, ladies and gentlemen, says, Deep State mainstream media is offering you a holographic avatar called Kamala to get you to vote for 4 more years of Deep State DNC. Absolutely. An animatronic, an avatar, a kind of, and by the way, avatar, as you know, an avatar is an incarnation of some pre-existing deity or something that existed before and the like. It's a fascinating subject. Mr. President, get off the golf course. Put on your suit. Get with JD. I want you to go hard. I want you to attack them. So they have to stop what they're doing and answer it. Answer it. Not her proxies. Answer it. Trump's got to come out and just say, she's never run before. She's going to do everything her can. She read the prompter today. She's a good prompter reader. She's very good. You don't understand something. She's not run before. They didn't want her. They never mentioned Joe Biden. They never mentioned Joe Biden one single time. Where is he? Can we have a welfare check? Is he in some basement? Is he like scratching out, like trying to tap on the pipe so somebody would say, hey, I'm hearing this noise. Call the police. SOS. It's going to be the most important thing in the world. It's going to be the most important thing in the world. And there are people right now, I'm telling you, and this is the most important, who are asking themselves, what is it that I believe in? What is it about this effort that I believe? What is it that they're going to do? What did she say they're going to do? This is the leftist, most lunatic stuff you have ever seen. This is the most important thing in the world. It's insanity. And he looks, the New York Post writes, how progressive is Tim Walz? Progressive? He's not progressive. Let me see if I can explain this. Remember this. Sanctuary state status. COVID-19 snitching. Shortly after the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, his administration opened a hotline allowing individuals to snitch on those who were basically rejecting the state's lockdown rules. That prompted scores of reports against everyday, ordinary Minnesotans who were simply walking their dogs or doing rudimentary stuff. He is in opposition to school choice. Early on, Republicans in the state Senate pushed for an education savings account, a voucher-like system in which state education funding would allow the student, even if a parent selected a private school. Walz said, oh, no. Then in 2023, he signed the so-called Trans Refuge Bill. It restricted state agencies from complying with out-of-state subpoenas, arrest warrants, and extradition requests for people who traverse and leave and move and remove themselves to Minnesota from other states for gender-affirming care. He signed an executive order protecting gender-affirming castration in Minnesota, including puberty blockers, surgeries, and hormone. And the order also called upon state agencies not to approve health insurance plans that didn't cover gender-approving castration. Then he took a number of, quote, initiatives. In 2022, he unveiled the Climate Action Framework, featuring, it's according to the New York Post, objectives such as increasing the number of electric vehicles on the road from 1 to 20% by 2030 and slashing the state's greenhouse gas emissions by 50%. The plan also pushed for 100% carbon-free electricity by 2040. When he was in Congress, he got an A rating from the NRA. An avid hunter, he boasted about his shooting skills. But his relationship with the NRA, went south. Following the Las Vegas mass shootings of 2017, where 59 people were mowed down in a case, I have heard stuff about this that will blow your mind. They want universal background checks and red flag policy. This is from people who are perceived as being a risk of harming others because of their guns. Hey, what better way to limit your fears or your ability to protect yourself by having the ability for the government to remove your God-given right, your natural right to protect yourself, because he's acting a little weird. Well, what if you're acting weird because you served your government? You have PTSD, or you're just depressed, or whatever reason. Anything they can think of to take away and strip you of your rights to guns. That's exactly what this is. How we counter the Trump added more. Okay, I'm sorry. It's the old one. Yes. Sorry about that. I thought this was due. Don't forget, Johnny Scott, the provocateur. Welcome, Johnny. Blue wave coming, huh? You rascal. You rapscallion, you. I don't know about that. But there's more. George Floyd aftermath. Conservatives and rational people lashed out at him over his riots, over the riots that erupted on his watch in the wake of the, criminal thug George Floyd's death in 2020. In fact, they accused him of being too soft. Walz faced intense scrutiny over his delay in deploying the Minnesota National Guard to help restore order. This guy who was with the National Guard. It was obvious to me that he froze under pressure, under a calamity, as people's properties were being burned down. This was State Senator Warren Limmer. Jacob Fry, liberal Minneapolis mayor, blamed him for response time that basically allowed the chaos to ensue. Minnesota GOP Chairman David Hahn accused him of fearful of alienating his progressive base. He sought abortion rights. Walz is steadfastly pro-abortion. After the fall of Roe, he signed legislation that codified abortion rights into law. He also was outspoken about access to in vitro, which his family used for 2 of his kids. Nothing wrong with that. Marijuana, free lunch, free college. Oh, I mean, this is the prototypical, absolutely the textbook, almost cartoon Disney version of this lefty lunatic. This is a gift from God, ladies and gentlemen. President Trump, do something immediately. Go after them. And let me also say something today. Mrs. L and I were watching this, and she brought something up, and I had to agree. J.D. Vance was damn good today. His delivery, he went after each point, never mentioned Walz once. Talked about her. Because she has no record. And you can say whatever you want about her. Because she's never done anything. Let me say this again. Nobody liked her. Nobody liked her. Barack Obama didn't like her. Nobody liked her. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear? Do you follow what I am saying? It's critical. Dude Kramer says Shapiro is smart. He dropped out knowing he would be committing political seppuku, or Harry Carey, as we used to call it. Johnny Scott says, I respect and like you, but I disagree with you, but no hate. I absolutely, positively welcome it. Disagreement is and I appreciate that. Oh, absolutely welcome. And I love your civility. Thank you. I mean it. This is Josh Shapiro. Oh, you know what that was about, don't you? See, that would have been, they wanted him for one reason and one reason only. She wanted to have the Jew in there so she could say, hey, look, come on, don't give me a hard time about being anti-Semitic or not being strong enough against these protesters. I've got Josh Shapiro. Right, Josh? That's right. Okay. And she would have continued on whatever she said. Now, let me explain something to you, and I've said it before. The conservatives, they call this. Look at this. Look what Howie Brown says. Howie Brown gifted 5 Lionel Nation memberships. You son of a gun, you. God bless you. Now, let's go through this very, very carefully. This right now is just to recap. This is the biggest lefty lunatic. He makes Bill de Blasio look like Pat Buchanan. This guy is off the charts. What they wanted to do with Shapiro was to bring him in, and then he could be the buffer. I do not believe that most people that are called anti-Semitic are basically or anti-Jewish. There was a poll they're using. There's a pun they're using. I forget, but they're trying to conflate being against either Bibi Netanyahu or Israel. See, this is a subject nobody in this country wants to talk about. Nobody there. If you stood up in front of the entire group and said, here's a map, all of you have laser disc, point to where you think Israel is. Point. Where do you think it is? Can you find it? Can you see it? Do you know where it is? Can any of you jadruls explain anything about what's the difference between Palestine and Gaza, or Gaza and Hamas? Who are the Houthis? Hezbollah is in what country? What's the role of Jordan? Where's the West Bank? Where's East Jerusalem? The Oslo Accord. What's the Nakba? What year was Israel formed? They look at you like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But they're anti-Semitic. No, they're not. That's not it. But what's going to happen now is watch in how many days? Watch nope, that's not it. Watch in, let me see the day. Here we go. 13 days until the Democratic National Convention. 13 days. What are they going to do? Now, let me ask you a question. Do you think, ladies and gentlemen, Edie Crowley, by the way, says, today someone made a comment to me that gender equality sports are boring, like watching paint dry. Maybe we need a coliseum and some lions. I've always suggested that if somebody wanted to actually consent to that, but anyway, I don't want to get too far. How many of you, dear people, believe that Kamala Harris said, my choice is Tim Walz? And they call him Walz or Waltz. They keep changing it, just like other names. How many of you believe that she had anything to do with him? How many folks? How many of you fine people think that she had anything to do with his selection? How many? How many of you think that she sat with her assistant and said, let's pour over, I want you to bring me all of his legislative records, give me a dossier on him, what he believes, give me all his polling numbers, is he good, do they like him, is he doing all this? Tell me how good. Do you think I can answer it right now, she had absolutely no say in anything? She is, let me see if I can say this correctly, a blithering idiot. And people might say, you're being a little mean. No, I'm saying exactly what I'm talking about. Tonight, she was so well polished. The introductions went too long. And then in the 4th grade, Tim found out that there was a little bird that fell out of a nest. And he nursed that bird. He called him Jerry. And Jerry he waited until he fed him worms and emulsified worms through an eyedropper. And then at the age of 12, he had a paper route. And he'd get up at 3 a.m. before school. And then, there was like, enough. And then there's Doug Emhoff. He's in the back. He's talking with his wife. I know. Get used to it. Nobody cares about us. How much money did they say this guy? They said 20 million, 400. I have no idea. Who is he? Mr. Trump, President Trump, Senator Vance, I beg you, please, not anybody, but you, just record them, a series of facts, just one after another, the truth. And once you do it, everybody will come out of the woodwork, fact checking you and repeating it, mentioning it and repeating it, clarifying it and repeating it, demanding, asking Walz and others to, well, what do you think about this? And repeating it. By the way, anybody know how's the career of that ABC News hatchet mistress who went after Trump? Anybody? They come and they go, they mean nothing. Tonight, take a good look at this. You've already seen everything you can. He's good he's okay. He was doing a lot of the hard stuff and waving. Did you see that schmaltzy stuff? He acted like he was I would tell him, excuse me, I'm the president, not you. Did you see where he kind of was forgetting He was acting like it was his show. Did you see that? Because she was like, okay. She was there to announce him. So he felt it was about him. And he didn't act dutiful enough. When I saw her standing back behind him, it almost, dare I say, presaged what was happening. Did you notice this? This is one of the scariest people around. This guy is the enemy. He is the enemy to all rational, I'm sorry, I know this sounds extreme, to all rational Americans, left and right. And it is incumbent upon the Republicans to get the word out that he is an absolute lunatic. And that, remember, that nobody liked her, that they ditched Biden. They basically Jimmy Hoffa him. They Chuck Cunningham him. He's just gone. He's gone. Let me say this again to you. The President of the United States is gone. Do you know what I'm saying? Does this make any sense? They disappeared his ass. He's through. It's done. It's absolutely finished. You know, my friends, this I will tell you, I've never seen anything like this. Do you remember when they thought that George McGovern was a lefty? George McGovern, who fought in World War II, what he was, a bomber pilot or a bomber? This was a guy who was an honorable man, who absolutely was phenomenal in terms of what he did. They thought he was too left. That's why the superdelegates came along, to kind of counteract him. What we're seeing right now is off the charts, mondo crazy. Be not mistaken. The Democratic Party wants to destroy this country. Destroy it. They're not happy with just a little bit of abortion. Oh, no. 4 more years of these people, you're going to see that they're going to destroy it. They're going to gut it. This is what the mob does. They go in, they take over a business, like in Goodfellas. They sell it, leverage it, take all the money out, and let it die. Let it dissolve. Let it just fall apart. George Lenz says, you are watching America junta in real time. It's true. Absolutely. So, my friends, I'm telling you right now, and I say this with all due respect. I say this not to be exaggerating or anything along those lines. I mean it. We have to do everything in our power. If you want to pray, start praying and beg President Trump to get on the horn now. He needs to be aggressive. And that means to go deliberately at them. And we need a new form. He needs to have a video platform that is currently used by everyone else. He can't do the same old stuff. That's all I'm saying. Now, good news. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been terrific in being a member of Lionel Nation. Guess what? Lynn's Warriors now has memberships. Yes. You can spread the holy word of truth to go to Lynn's Warriors, and she's going to be doing her own lives. Oh, yes. Today I did a live version at Lionel Legal, which is part of our expanding, I guess, network or whatever you want to call it. Spreading the holy word of truth. Giving you something that nobody else will do. To tell you that God's on the truth. And to tell you the way it is. Not to come out and mollify. Not to say, hey, everything's great. I felt good watching. I realized this woman has absolutely no gas in the tank whatsoever. None. Now, my friends, I want to thank the good people who tonight were with us. George Lenz, Edie Crowley, Howie Brown, Johnny Scott. John, welcome, my friend, again to you. Remember, you don't have to agree. I have no interest in that necessarily. Only agree if you mean it. Dude Kramer, John Jelaine, Eric Heffelfinger, and of course, Jay Kazu, I guess, and Vito, and the great Judas Goat Barbecue. What a day we have, my friends. Well, I have been doing this all day. I am exhausted. I am emotionally drained from seeing these people dare to even attempt to suggest that they are worthy of trying to steward the helm of my beloved republic. I know you felt the same way. All right, dear friends, it's been a glorious day and a glorious night. We will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. Thank you so much for doing everything, for being who you are, for joining us, for being a part of this glorious, glorious exhibition in truth. We will see you then. Remember these final words, dear friend, as I always say to you. Remember, by the way, Lionel Nation members, there's a video that's up right now that will drop later this evening, and you, of course, have first access to it. Have a great and glorious day. Don't forget the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.